It's preparing.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm just waiting so I can jump in there and cut that mic off.
Wonderful. Okay, yeah.
So I'm just waiting so I can jump in there and cut that mic off.
Okay, did you hear that delay?
Yep, I heard it. Exactly. So we should be good to go now.
Okay,
And it's doing its thing, but that's okay. I'm just going to stop it later on and do, and just cut those first 10, 20 seconds off. But
sure.
I just want to say thank you so much, Burley. Welcome to our Facebook Live interview with Burley Tuggle. Burley is my insurance agent and a client of 180 Time Management and a group member. But as I said, that's not all she does. So, Burley, I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce yourself fully.
Okay, hello, everybody. Thank you for being on this Facebook Live interview. Just as Tanya said, I am a life insurance agent, but that's not the only thing that I do. I've actually been in finance for 20 plus years now. By day, I work for a social policy research organization, and on my evenings and my weekends, I have a couple of other businesses, one of which is a wine business where I teach people how to taste, evaluate, and appreciate fine wine. And in addition to that, financial planning. And I'm also very active in some other things, but those are the highlights.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
The highlights.
Right. That's like the short version.
That's the short version, which is exactly why Burley. Burley, I'm just going to give you a little bit of advice. I think you and I have a tendency to do the same thing. We kind of bang on the table or we move the table. It's making your camera jump up and down.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I actually have my laptop on my lap. So
Yeah,
maybe you
you
should.
might want to move that onto the table so
Okay.
that, because when we start talking and bobbing our heads, it's going to, get really interesting with the camera angle.
Okay. Let me see how that works.
That's fine.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. So, Burley, I guess with all of those activities, people may not see why. Okay, yeah, this is why she called Tanya for time management. But can you give us a little bit of the background about what life was like before 180-degree time management? What was your relationship to time with all these things you had to do and handle? What was your relationship to time?
Well, I mean, I just felt like I was always running from one thing uh, to the next thing and never really just having a moment to pause and reflect and even think about, what I want to do as opposed to, what I have to do.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And what was like the biggest cost to you having to manage it like that, running, always being on the run and, always being at cost instead of at the effect of, I'm sorry,
Uh,
at the managing it.
well, I mean, I think the biggest cost was just losing quality time, but also, I mean, I guess I got to a point where I was dropping the ball, on some things that I've been doing year after year after year.
Mm-hmm.
And, I kind of missed those deadlines. They weren't hard, per se, but, they were big things like
Mm-hmm.
finishing, taxes and, other year end bookkeeping things. And so I just knew, that I needed some type of intervention.
Got it. So what would you say is your like worst case scenario? Like, the thing where, you don't have to give details, but the thing that, had you go, your toes kind of cringe and you're like, oh my God, that was when it was at its absolute worst.
Well, yeah, just missing those deadlines because in general, I mean, I tend to crunch and, procrastinate, but 9 times out of 10, I always get it done.
Mhm.
And it just got to the point where I didn't have anything left, in
Mm.
the gas tank, and it
Right.
lingered, and then I just avoided, completing it. And the more I avoided, the worse I felt. And then, psychologically, I was just, putting myself in a position of just, beating myself up and, feeling bad about it. But at the end of the day, I still didn't complete, what I said I needed to do.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say, and I'm glad you said it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So would you say that, that was what had you say yes to 180-degree time management at that time when we spoke about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything involving time management, yes.
Got it.
But I would say that I was attracted more so because you kind of said, well, this is not going to be your typical, time management class. And so that was the thing that really caught my interest.
Great. And was I true to my word? Was it not like a typical time management class, and how?
I would definitely say it was not typical in the sense that, I was prepared, to do the typical things in terms of, kind of the do's, and the don'ts, and pulling out the scheduler and, dealing with difficult people and, things that waste your time and, prioritizing. So I was kind of used to those drills, and we didn't really do that.
Yeah. Which very good, which brings me to my next question. How was your experience with 180-degree time management different from those typical courses that you may have taken before? And have you taken anything before?
Oh my God, yes. I've taken many corporate sponsored, time management courses that were very costly, and, 3 days out of the office, and, hours and hours of lecturing and exercises and role playing, and at the end of the class, you have a workbook, and, it's supposed to be a tool. And of course, you never use it because you're busy. So I guess I was really, I was caught off guard by your class, just because it didn't necessarily have the structure, that I was kind of prepared for. So that was a little different for me. So I definitely, I had to adjust to that because I was ready to, do the typical exercises and the routines and, all the tips and tools.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that. And the fact that you didn't do that, what would you say? Would you say that, well, okay, you're on air, so, you're obviously something that worked about the program, but what would you say, in your opinion, made it both unique and sustainable?
Well, I mean, I think what made it unique is that it was really about creating everything, from scratch. And I think, that's definitely very innovative. So as opposed to, having somebody, lay out the blueprint, you provided guidelines, but it was more or less like, okay, what would you like it to look like? And, and it was really about trying to understand, the reason why I do the things I do. So that was completely unique.
And how has it been to sustain your time management? Because you and I worked together, I think it was last May.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, what I can definitely say.
Oh dear.
It's a little more. I mean, I think as opposed to having a reference, in terms of a book and all the exercises, it's more or less because, I played, a role firsthand in creating this plan. It's in my mind. So I'm always, aware of, what I said I wanted to do. And as opposed to a workbook, I have, one or two, pieces of paper that I can easily, right? As a matter of fact, I have, one thing that I created that's actually posted, on my job, so every day, I come in and basically it's a visual that includes pictures as well as words of, everything that we created and, the things that remind me of, what I really want to do. So, yeah, so I think it, in that way, it's a lot more practical, and it's something that I can implement in the sense that, I have a constant reminder and it's in my mind because it came from me.
That is really, really, I couldn't have said that better myself. And it's so nice to hear it coming from, a client who's been through it, because, when you're trying to describe it to someone else who may be interested in applying it, it's kind of hard to get those words, in the right sequence, or, to say, yeah, it's not going to be on a piece of paper. It's going to become a part of you. And like, really, time management is going to become a part of me.
Right.
Really?
I know. Right. Yeah.
Right. How does that work, Tanya? Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, okay.
Yeah. So it's really, thank you so
real?
much.
Yes, it's real.
It's real. It's no
really real.
That's so great. Thank you for the way that you express that. Like I said, I couldn't have said that better myself. And I think you've done a really good job of how, it's the difference between being in a workbook and in your own mind.
Yes.
is that's the difference, I think, between night and day. And it's also the difference between sustainable and non-sustainable or unsustainable, because how many of us have bought the book and bought the program, and I can look up on my bookshelf and see programs that never got used or got used once. But if you open up your computer, like you say, every day, and you are looking back at in terms of what the wording was that you used and how you framed it, that's powerful.
My words, actually,
Right. Yeah.
I said those things, and with your help, we were able to capture, all of those thoughts and the memories, and, and visualize it, as well. So that's very powerful.
Very good. Thank you. So I want us to kind of wrap up. We only do about 20 minutes when we do these. And because, I don't know, Facebook, people that look at videos, they normally look at for about 7 minutes. So, we're trying to pack a lot into this time. Right. And I just wanted to ask you, if you were to say, what were the biggest 3 results that you got out of and are continuing to get out of your 180-degree time management program?
Okay, yeah, I actually thought about those things and I wrote them down. So let me just take a peek at what I wrote down.
Absolutely.
I can minimize the ums and the and I didn't write a lot, but just some bullets pretty much. So I think just understanding my personal relationship to time, and just kind of why I do the things that I do. I think that's very powerful, as a way to kind of get to the root cause of my actions and my management style, and avoidance, and whatever the issues are. The second one is actually having an action plan, and because I do financial planning, of course I know the power of having a written plan, and so it's great that I have a reference that I can look at physically, and I know what I need to do. So it's not like it's this thing that I have to try to figure out. I know what I need to do. That's not to say that I'm always doing it, but I know what I need to do.
Very good.
Okay. And then I definitely think that the, reinforcement, that I get from you just checking in, and then also the online community that you've created to just keep people engaged, and also it's a forum to interact with other people who have gone through the program as well. So that's what I got.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Burley. I think, you were really, really succinct, very, very clear to the point. And I just want to thank you again for taking your time to be with us this evening. And you'll be able to see yourself all over social media now.
Oh my God, I need this. I need this because I have to promote the wine business. I have a lot of big things that are coming up. So I really need to be out there. I need money. I need, supporters. So thank you, Tanya.
You are so welcome. One hand watching, what was it? One back scratches the other. So
of course,
I
absolutely.
And of course, anything that you've got coming up, let us know in the group.
Okay.
The Gift of Time Management Lab. You can apply to join our group. It is a private group, and you can apply to join our group by going to the Gift of Time Management Lab on Facebook. And Burley, thank you again so much. I wish you all the best with everything you've got going on, and let me know how it's all going, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. Hang on for one moment, and I'm going to say goodbye to the Facebook audience.
Okay.
And we will be rejoining you in a little bit less than a week's time with the next in this series of live interviews with 180-degree time management clients and group members from the Gift of Time Management Lab. Thank you.